Welcome to Dadograms. I'm Jason M. Garrett, and I created Dadograms to teach my children and all of you how to win in life. A while back, I was listening to a podcast where an ex-con was talking about his time in prison, his life after prison, and why a lot of folks who were in prison once go back in a second time. And I'll be honest, this is a world I have very little experience with, so for me, it was quite the learning experience. He said this: most of the people he was in prison with were there because the way they were taught to make money was illegal. Now, at first, that didn't make any sense to me at all. After all, everyone knows the magic formula, right? You get a job, you get a paycheck, you make money. That's how it works. But the more time I thought about it, the more I realized that assumption only works if that model was ever demonstrated to you in the first place. There are a lot of people out there who were never shown legal, stable ways to earn money. Instead, they saw entirely different methods modeled by friends, family members, or their surrounding community. And once you truly understand that, it changes how you see the problem. At least it did for me. So think about all the economically motivated crimes people go to prison for: drug distribution, theft, robbery, fraud, racketeering, prostitution, embezzlement, and more. In many cases, the driving motive wasn't violence, it was money. For me, that's kind of uncomfortable to say out loud, but it matters because when you strip away emotion and look at the incentives, a lot of those crimes don't look random at all. They look like misdirected business instincts paired with zero experience to legal ways of building income. I mean, think about it. Selling drugs is just buying inventory wholesale and selling it retail with brutal enforcement costs. Prostitution is monetizing a personal asset. Illegal, destructive, but still transactional. Embezzlement is abusing insider access. The same thing that gets people fired in corporate America or Wall Street instead of arrested. Fraud is false advertising plus creative accounting, taken to a criminal extreme. And racketeering is vertical integration run by force instead of contracts. These aren't acts of chaos, they're income strategies. Illegal ones, destructive ones, often violent in their consequences, but strategies nonetheless. And strategies don't come out of thin air. Think about it. If your parents ran legal businesses, went to work every day, talked about promotions and taxes and retirement at the dinner table, you probably learned without anyone lecturing you that money comes from careers and professions. But if the most financially successful people you knew were hustlers and dealers and scammers, you learned a very different lesson about how money works. Kids don't learn how to make money from speeches, and they don't learn it from school anymore. They learn it by watching who pays the bills. Now, none of this excuses criminal behavior. I'm definitely not saying that. Responsibility still matters, and choices have consequences. What I am saying is that the behavior makes more sense if you understand the incentives. Humans don't invent survival strategies in isolation. They copy what they see working. If the only people in your environment who made it did so illegally, that becomes the blueprint. It's just basic role modeling. And sometimes it's the easier way. After all, legal work has barriers. You got to be educated, have credentials, have a heck of a lot of patience, and it requires delayed gratification. While illegal work has incentives: immediate cash, low barriers to entry, visible success, no HR department that you have to get through to get hired. And when someone is operating in survival mode, short-term horizons beat long-term morality every time. And here's the uncomfortable truth people don't like to admit. Criminal violence isn't always the goal. It's the byproduct of the illegal ways to get money. Illegal markets don't have contracts, they don't have courts, and they enforce agreements with force. See? Now, up to this point, all of this has been completely unknown to me. Now, I could probably have figured it out if I'd actually wanted to think about it, but until I heard that podcast, I hadn't. Even then, I didn't think about it too much. However, lately, some events close to home have got me thinking about it a bit more. You probably saw in the Dadogram a while back, I have a family member who spent more than 7 months trying to get a job. Now, he wasn't someone fresh out of jail or anything like that. He's got a clean record. He's been a volunteer fireman. He's worked in the school district. But he is a bit gruff and doesn't always shine in the interviews. But he's responsible and reliable. And for 7 months, he has applied everywhere. Applications went out, calls went unanswered, interviews went nowhere. Eventually, more out of frustration than optimism, he applied at Walmart. And that's where something surprising happened. During the application process, he was asked a simple question about his background. When he indicated that he had a clean record, the hiring manager told him, almost casually, that fact alone put him at the head of the line. Let that sink in. After 7 months of rejection, having a clean record was the thing that finally opened the door, and he did get the job. That moment forced a question that I hadn't fully confronted before. If someone with a clean record, a history of public service, and steady work experience struggles for 7 months to get hired today, how hard do you think it is for someone who just got out of prison? Next to impossible, I bet. I mean, seriously, would you hire someone? I wouldn't be inclined to. As it turns out, though, Walmart does. It's one of the few large-scale employers out there willing to hire former felons at scale, provided they meet certain criteria, including time since their last offense and a clean track record ever since. That policy doesn't make headlines, but it matters. For many ex-cons, it's one of the only legitimate on-ramps back into legal income. And suddenly, you see the catch-22. If legal money is this hard to access even to people who did everything right, it becomes much easier to understand why illegal money keeps pulling people back in. Not because it's good, not because it's right, but because it's available immediately. And you all know you need money to survive. When survival is online, eventually does not compete with right now. Understanding incentives doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it does explain why systems fail and why fixing pathways to legal money matters far more than slogans ever will. All of this has left me thinking that there has to be a better way. If the problem is that many people were never shown a legal way to make money, then the solution isn't just punishment after the fact. It's got to be exposing them before the damage is done. For decades, we quietly stripped practical money skills out of the classroom. We removed shop class. We removed vocational tracks. We removed home economics. And then we act surprised when kids grow up without a clear picture of how to legally earn money. Really? There are entire industries right now that are desperate for workers. Industries like construction, plumbing, electrical work, welding, carpentry, truck driving. These jobs pay well, they hire quickly, and they don't require a 4-year degree. And for a lot of people, they offer exactly what illegal money falsely promises: steady income, dignity, and a path forward. But you can't choose a path you've never seen. If schools expose kids early to legitimate ways that people earn money with their hands, with their skills, with reliability, we might, just might, prevent a lot of bad outcomes before they ever start. Not by lecturing or moralizing, and not by just locking them up, but by showing them what actually works. Role modeling matters. Pathways matter. And schools may be the one last place where they can still be introduced at scale. Okay? All right. If this way of thinking has helped you see the world a little more clearly, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And if you've got time, go back and watch a previous Dadogram. They're evergreen, just as useful today as the day they were recorded. Until next time, stay safe and keep winning in life.